Hey everybody, Smooth Terrorist here once again. This is my second attempt at recording this video because I'm having some microphone problems. It seems that my deep, loud, booming voice is too powerful for this shitty little Chinese microphone in this crappy Walmart laptop. I've got a loud mouth, and it's gotten me into trouble once again. Oh, bad boy, talking nasty about Karen Klein, that poor woman. How could you? Community guidelines strike on my account for bullying. But I am delighted to say that within, I'm pretty sure, only a few hours of that video getting taken down, it was already back up. It was already mirrored by numerous sources, and let me, before I forget, because this is probably going to be a long rambling ass video, let me say right at the outset to everybody who mirrored that video, thank you. Without you guys doing what you do, I would not be able to do what I'm doing right now. I would have to quit. I would have to give up on making these videos. I'd be defeated. Google would win if you guys didn't do what you're doing and mirror these videos. And I'm going to start doing the same thing. I've never mirrored other people's videos on my YouTube channels, any of the YouTube accounts that I've had, but I'm going to start doing it now because I realize the need for us to form a system of interdependency in order to fight this censorship. It's what has to happen. So the next time I see a video that I think might be in danger of being taken down, I'm going to start mirroring videos on my own channel. So look forward to that. Anyway, this is another one of those videos like the last one that got removed, which is completely impromptu, off the cuff, rambling nonsense. I'm not scripting shit anymore. I'm not going to put the little cartoon. I'm not going to edit or polish or do anything like that. And I'll get to the reason why in just a second. Because I have decided that if Google is going to keep censoring me, I'm going to keep making more videos. That's what I've decided. You know, I was getting tired of this. I was getting bored, quite frankly. I was getting bored with YouTube. I was starting to think that maybe I wasn't saying anything worth censoring. I was starting to think maybe I just wasn't that controversial anymore. Maybe I had outlived my usefulness and it was time to hang the webcam up and head for greener pastures. But then Google showed me that I was wrong. I'm still relevant. Who knew? Who knew that my opinion on Karen Klein was so controversial and offensive that I'm worth censoring. I am worth censoring. I'm somebody, guys. I'm important. I really feel that way. I get a charge. I get a boost of motivation when somebody feels that I'm worth censoring. It makes me feel like I'm doing good here. It makes me feel like there's a need for what I'm doing. And I've decided that if Google takes this video down, I'm going to start uploading one a week instead of one a month. And if they take those down, I'm going to start uploading one every day. Fuck not having the time. Fuck my busy social schedule. I will find the time. I will make the time to get these videos out there to you guys. And that's the reason why they're not going to be polished anymore. You know, I'm not going to edit a damn thing. I don't have time. If I'm going to be putting these out fast and furious, then I don't have time to worry about flashy little animations and graphics and doing jump cuts so that, you know, if I'm sitting there stammering, wondering what to say next, you know, I edit that part out and it just stays really at that breakneck Philip DeFranco pace that people with short attention spans seem to need. Fuck that nonsense. You know, I'm in a war here. We're in a war. And I'm going to win by attrition. I'm going to keep throwing these fucking videos out there, and I'm going to overwhelm Google. That's what I'm going to do. And, you know, whatever it takes. I mean, I'm going to be smart about this, guys. Now, I'm not going to do what I did last time with my last account that got banned, which is to re-upload my own video. I'm not going to do that because that'll just result in me getting another strike against my account. And it'll be that much sooner that I have to change my IP address, hide behind 7 proxies, go through all the bullshit hassle that I have to do to get around Google's censorship. You know, the idea of a war of attrition is to externalize as much of the effort onto the enemy as you can. Do you guys understand what I'm coming from with that? I want to minimize my effort and maximize theirs. I want it to be very easy for me to say something and very difficult for them to censor what I'm saying, so that the effort becomes too much and they can't do it anymore. That's how this has to be. Otherwise, none of us have a chance. We're already doomed, and we can just sell your computer and start watching cable TV again. Just listen to what your masters want you to hear. Watch what they want you to see. And forget about free speech. Kiss it goodbye, unless we're going to do this. We're either in it for all the marbles, or we're going to give up and go home. Right? That's my attitude now. That's how I'm looking at this. This is a fight. I'm in it to win it. Now, let's talk about my video that got banned, just for a quick second here. What? I can't believe I'm one of the people that says that shit. What's the difference between a quick second and a long second? A second is always a second. I'm ashamed of myself for that one. Anyway, though, Google YouTube, they sent me a message telling me which community guideline I was in violation of for that video. After which I was given the choice to acknowledge or never use YouTube again. So it's you know, it's like either your brains or your signature are going to be on this paper. It's an offer you can't refuse. Acknowledge. It's so fucking immature and stupid, the shit they do. It just makes me laugh. It really does. But the guideline in question was bully. I'm a bully. I'm the big bad bully for what I said about poor old Karen Klein, who's now probably a millionaire, right? And here's the interesting part, and this is what I want you guys to take notice of. If you read the letter of the community guideline about bullying, what it says is that you're not allowed to harass or intimidate or otherwise distress another member of the YouTube community. That's what you're not allowed to do. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and please do. That's not rhetorical. Please actually correct me if I'm wrong, because I might be. But I don't think Karen Klein has a YouTube account. I don't think Karen Klein is actually on YouTube. So for them to say that I'm in violation of the community guidelines, which clearly says that you can't bully another member of YouTube when it's somebody who's just a public figure in the news. And by the way, when you're in the news, you're public domain. It's like it doesn't count as harassment for me to write a criticism in an op-ed piece in the newspaper about President Obama. That's not stalking, that's not harassment, that's not libel or anything like that, because he's a public figure. And when you're a public figure, we're allowed to fucking talk about you. You got $1 million, Karen. You got $500,000 fucking dollars in donations. I should be allowed to say that you're a fucking bitch who can't do her job. I should be allowed to say that, right? And apparently I'm not. It's unbelievable. Anyway, but the video is mirrored, so it doesn't fucking matter. But it's just really fishy. It's really fishy that strike held up. And once again, it's got me wondering, and hardly for the first time, how the flagging process on YouTube works. Haven't we all wondered that? Haven't all you guys sat around scratching your head, furrowing your caveman brow in concentration, just thinking about it? Like what goes on? How do they make these decisions? Now, as I see it, there's only two possibilities. On the one hand, it's completely automated. In other words, there's no one at the switch. If enough people flag your video for whatever reason, they don't like the way you look. This guy's got an annoying voice and a big nose. Flag. If enough people flag you, it just gets taken down, whether you were really in violation of any community guidelines or not. That's option one. Option two is that Google YouTube actually has an army of trained monkeys sitting around and making decisions. There's actually people, moderators, whatever they're called, reviewing these flagged videos and deciding, is this a legitimate violation of the community guidelines, or are these people just, or is this guy just getting trolled by flaggots? The truth is, we will probably never get the answer to that question. I think that question is like whether or not Emmanuel Goldstein really exists in 1984. It's a question that's meant to drive us insane. They're fucking with our heads. They're trying to demoralize us. That's what I want you guys to understand. And hey, you can call me paranoid, but I believe the words coming out of my fucking mouth. I really believe they are that fucking sinister, that they're trying to fuck with our heads like that. And maybe someday we'll know. I think I actually read somewhere that the former headquarters of the Stasi secret police in East Berlin has been turned into a museum where German citizens can actually go in and they can look at the Stasi's records. They can look at the reams and reams of surveillance and personal information that they were collecting on citizens. And maybe someday, after the revolution, someday, maybe Google headquarters will be a museum. Maybe I'll be able to go down to Google headquarters with a little ribbon pinned to my chest that says "Never Forget," and I'll be able to look at all the information they were giving to the NSA about my personal activities and my consumer preferences. Maybe I'll actually be able to see what they were doing to suppress Chinese dissidents' access to certain websites. Maybe I'll actually be able to find out what methods they were using here on YouTube and elsewhere on the internet to suppress political speech. Maybe someday we'll know. Probably not. We will probably never know everything that these cocksuckers are doing behind closed doors. And that's a shame. It really is. Because I'd love to, I'm just fascinated. I mean, it's not even so much the fact that I'm opposed to what they're doing. I'm just fascinated. I'd love to get the answers to those questions. And I probably never will. But what I want to talk to you guys about today, yes, this video actually does have a point. It's not just going to be me bitching about my censored video. I want to talk about complicity. I want to talk about the complicity of the victims of tyranny. That's the issue that I want to talk to you guys about today. Now, there's nothing that disgusts me more. There's nothing that sickens me more than when people express the view that a woman who has been raped is partially that she shares some of the blame for that act. And you guys have all heard people saying stuff like this, that she was dressed provocatively, or well, if you joined the Marines or the fire department or what have you, then what did you expect? It's a bunch of guys with a macho culture. Of course you're going to get raped. or oh, you shouldn't have gotten drunk. You know, she got drunk out in public, and if you're going to be irresponsible, then you deserve what happens to you. You know, if you're one of the people saying stuff like this, you're a creep. You are the lowest of the fucking low, and that's from the bottom of my heart. I really fuck you to the utmost of fucktivity. Seriously. But that having been said, now that that's out of the way, I believe that when it comes to oppression on a societal scale, when it comes to tyranny, it takes two to tango. Tyranny is a group effort that requires the participation of the oppressed. It requires the participation of the citizen. And I really want you guys to understand this. And this is the reason why, when I get up on my soapbox in these videos and I talk about the scummy things that Uncle Sam is doing, when I talk about police brutality, I'm not pointing fingers at villains. I'm not naive like that. I don't live in this black and white world where there are these bad guys that are making the rest of our lives suck. I'm not that naive. I don't think that, you know, oh, if we just clear out these guys, everything's going to be okay. No, we are the problem. You are the problem, more specifically, not me. You guys. Because a people who are committed to their liberty and to one another's liberty, a people who, as Jefferson said, have the spirit of liberty, can never be oppressed by. There's no group that can conquer someone like that. But when you become callow, when you become spineless, when you become a wimp, you're going to get rolled over, and you deserve it. You got it coming. And I want to illustrate my point by telling you guys about something that happened to me with my last YouTube account. I used to get messages on my last YouTube account all the time, and this is not a sporadic thing. We're not talking one or two. We're not even talking 5 or 10. We're talking tons of these, all right? I used to get messages all the time, private messages, comments, what have you, from people saying, aren't you afraid to talk about the stuff that you talk about in your YouTube videos? People would say this to me. They'd say, aren't you scared talking about open revolution, violent overthrow of the United States government? Aren't you worried, flashing your AK-47 on a YouTube video? Aren't you worried that you're going to get raided by the ATF, or that a SWAT team is going to show up at 3 a.m. and knock your door down and throw you in the back of a black van with a hood over your head and cart you off to Guantanamo Bay or something? People said this to me all the time, and it just blows my fucking mind. And what really hurts me, what's going to keep me up at night, is the fact that most of you probably don't understand why that blows my mind. Here's the reason. I'm going to explain this nice and simple, okay? Because if you people asking me that question really believe that I had cause to be concerned that those things were going to happen to me, why aren't you out rioting in the streets right fucking now? If you really believe that things are that bad, you really believe that I should be afraid to get on my little cheap webcam and state my opinion and just say what's on my mind, you really think I should be afraid that I'm going to get thrown away down the Orwellian memory hole by secret police just for making a video on the internet? You believe that? And you're okay with it? Really? This is why things continue to get worse. Don't you get that? You're not supposed to be afraid. They are supposed to be afraid of you. Not to make a tired old V for Vendetta point about the people fearing the government versus the government fearing the people, but it is a good point, okay? And it just sickened me when I used to get messages like that on my old account. Aren't you scared to be saying the things that you're saying in your YouTube videos? No, I'm not fucking scared, because I'm actually of the opinion that I have free speech and I'm allowed to say whatever the fuck I want. Am I wrong? Did I miss a memo at some point? And I understand what it is to feel fear. I get that. But it's at times like that, it's at times when you start to feel afraid, that's when you need to respond with a redoubled effort to stand up for your rights. That's when you have to realize that we have nothing to fear but fear itself, because it's fear that's going to make us slide into totalitarianism. It's the complicity of the citizen. It's your willingness to be abused that's going to make you into a victim. That's what you guys need to understand. So this is the time to be a loudmouthed. This is the time to be offensive, to be obnoxious, to be contrary. This is the fucking time to speak up before you're in the gulag and you've got nothing to talk about but, like, who's going to trade whose food rations that day for cigarettes, or whatever the fuck we're going to talk about when we're all sitting around in the FEMA camps with orange jumpsuits and black hoods on our heads. We'll be afraid later. Right now, it's not time to be scared. It's not time to be a pussy. It's time to be angry right now. And that's what I want to get across to you guys. But I also want to talk about... I just moved the camera. Sorry about that. I also want to talk about the complicity that I see in internet censorship on the corporate side. Because what you guys need to understand is that when we're talking about censorship, when we're talking about free speech issues on the internet, whether it's the government infringing upon your right of free speech or it's a private corporation, it really makes no difference. I know you think it does. I know you do. You guys are stuck in this dumb little false dichotomy of left-wing versus right-wing, communist versus fascist. It doesn't make a difference. Google and the NSA are like that. Google and the NSA are they might as well be the same fucking thing. The Supreme Court has ruled that they don't have to fucking tell us what kind of information they're sharing, what their ties are, how deep their cooperation goes. And that leaves me to assume that it goes pretty fucking deep. Okay? And what you really need to do is examine the thing in itself, not its image. Look beneath the surface. Don't just file things into a box that says government or file things into a box that says corporate. Look at what it is. Whether we're talking about a group like Google or we're talking about a group like the CIA, we're still talking about a well-funded, insular, exclusive cabal that feels like they have the right to impose their will on the rest of us, okay? So does it really matter whether it's private or public? Does it really fucking matter? No, the answer is it doesn't, okay? Plain and simple. And that's why there's so many of you out there that have half the picture right and not the whole thing. Because I see people out there resisting government censorship, and they're okay with corporate censorship. And I see people doing the opposite. I see people resisting corporate censorship, but they're okay with government censorship. You've got to resist both. You have to have the whole picture. You have to be 100% committed to freedom. Okay? You can't half-ass this And a really unsettling trend that I've been seeing all over the internet is people requesting censorship. I'm seeing this all the time. You know, I see it on social networks. I see it on message boards. I see it on video sharing sites like YouTube. And let me give you guys a very recent example. Alex Jones and the InfoWars team have created a social network called Planet InfoWars, and I joined it. Now, let me just diverge off onto a tangent for a minute. Don't send me fucking private messages asking me if I believe in fluoride conspiracy or 9/11 truth. I don't want to... Look, okay, stop with this guilt by association bullshit. Just because I listen to somebody's videos or their radio show doesn't mean I agree with everything they say. You know, The People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn is one of my favorite books. That doesn't mean I'm a communist like Howard Zinn, okay? I can read something or listen to something without buying it lock, stock, and barrel and drinking the Kool-Aid. Okay, just because you guys don't have the ability to do that doesn't mean that I lack that ability, okay? So don't try to have an argument with Alex Jones through me by proxy. I don't want to hear shit about how fluoride conspiracy is bullshit. I know it's bullshit. Shut up. Alright, now getting back to the main point. Okay, sorry for that tangent. You know, this social network that he's created is still in its beta phase. They're working out the kinks and the bugs, and they're still ironing it out. And I have seen a number of posts on there by rank and file members of the social network that are asking for a flag button. They're saying, great site, we love it, but don't you think you should add a flag function so that users can report violations to the Oh, God. My fucking God. Alright, people. Look here. Why are you doing this to yourselves? Why are you doing this to yourselves? Really, this is what keeps me up at night. It really is. I don't sit around in fear of like closed door meetings of corporate CEOs and 4-star generals in smoke-filled rooms plotting against me. I'm afraid of the guy next to me at line in Walmart. I'm afraid of you. I'm afraid of the app. You guys are the ones that are turning this into a totalitarian society. Because we've become a culture of snitches, haven't we? I mean, you all want to rat each other out. You all want to flag somebody. And what is that? You don't believe in free speech if you're just chomping at the bit to flag somebody for something. You really don't. Because let me explain something about flag buttons, okay? A flag function, and I don't care where it is. I don't care if it's on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, whatever the fuck. A flag function is democratic censorship. It's a means by which the majority impose their will on minorities. In other words, it reduces the discourse. It reduces the marketplace of ideas to the lowest common denominator for this simple reason. The reason being that if anybody puts forth an unconventional idea, then the masses will suppress that unconventional idea. If for no other reason than the reason that people fear change. We're creatures of habit. You know, I'm used to Newtonian mechanics. Why should I accept this relativity shit? It sounds weird. Fuck that. It's a shitty thing about human nature. It is. But I think at this point, it's well documented enough to be considered an immutable fact of human nature that we resist change. We suppress unconventional thinking. And that is anathema to progress. Progress cannot occur if you bring down the discourse to the lowest common denominator by allowing the masses to democratically censor the minority. Okay, and that's all a flag function does. That's all it does. There is no justification for now the justifications for this are so paper thin I could tear them up in less than a minute, and let me proceed to do so. Okay? If you ask the YouTube staff why we have a flag button on YouTube, they're going to tell you it's to protect you. It's to protect kids from seeing porn. It's to protect people from being bullied and harassed and stalked. Well, look here. We already have laws against stalking. We already have laws against making death threats, okay? That shit's already... And if you ask me, I mean, even that stuff is a little too far, but I'm an anarchist. I'm crazy. What do you want? But look here. If somebody's making death threats against you, if somebody's threatening your family, you're past the point of hitting the flag button. You need a gun, not a flag button. If you're of the do-it-yourself mentality like I am, you need a gun. If you're a collectivist, you need to call the police or the FBI or whatever the fuck you want. But the point is, you know, a flag button doesn't protect you. The only use that this has, the only practical application is censorship. Is for the majority to shut you up because they don't like what you've got to say. That's always what it does. And it fosters a culture of snitching. It's sort of like just the mere fact that the Department of Homeland Security has created an anonymous tip line for people to report terrorism. That's going to cause the guy who is angry that his neighbor is playing music when he's got to work early in the morning the next day to fuck with him. And, oh, that motherfucker can't turn his shit down, I'll just call and report him in as a terrorist. It fosters a culture of snitching. It gives rise to a culture of snitching. When you create this apparatus for people to report each other, for people to hit a flag button. So, my question, and this question is not just addressed to the people of YouTube, but to the people of the world, to everyone who's on the internet, everyone within the sound of my voice. This is what I want to ask you guys. Why are you actually requesting this? Why are you requesting these fucking flag features? What the fuck is wrong with you people? Seriously, and it's the same people doing this who will actually tell you they believe in free speech. But you clearly don't. Get your fucking priorities right. Get your wiring right. Before it's too late. That's what I want to say with this video. And, you know, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Hope I didn't ramble on too long. And here's the important part, so everybody pay very close attention. Okay? This has been The Smooth Terrorist, and if you enjoyed this video, download it, re-upload it, mirror it, parody it, make it your own. Because the corporatocracy, fascist, control freak censoring cocksuckers at Google cannot censor me. Unless you let them. And you haven't let them, so I thank you. Keep it smooth.